Hey geeks, welcome to the Geek. In this video, we'll have a virtual tour to Jupyter Notebook. In the last video, we saw how to download and install and set up Anaconda Navigator in our local. Once the Anaconda Navigator is properly set in your machine, you'll have a window where it says to launch a Jupyter Notebook with the icon saying launch. Once you launch a Jupyter Notebook, this is the very first screen that will appear before you. Even before getting started with Jupyter Notebook, I'll suggest you to have a separate dedicated folder in your local to have all the Python notebooks saved in one place. So if you see my screen, I have created Python tutorials notebook or say a folder within my documents folder. Now within my Python tutorials folder, I'll have all my Python notebooks saved in there. So once the screen appears and once you've completed creating your folders dedicated to your Python tutorials, now let's create a new Jupyter notebook within the folder. Jupyter provides two options, upload and new. Upload helps you to upload an existing Python file into your notebook. New helps you to create a new file and work on Jupyter. So new provides option where you can create a new Python file, a text file, a folder and a terminal. So let's use the new option to create new Python file. So the moment I click on Python file, it navigates to a browser and gives me a file in the same path where I desire to have it. That is documents Python tutorial untitled.ipynb. Now why untitled? Because I haven't named my file yet. And ipynb is the extension that tells it is a Jupyter notebook, which is of Python type. So the very first thing that I will do once I get a Python Jupyter notebook is to rename with a desired name to it. So let me name this as session 1 and click enter. Now you see my Python file is named as session 1. If I go one step back and confirm, yes, it has been created as ipynb session 1. Suppose I want to delete the file, then I'll click on this small box, rectangular box that's provided and click on delete button. So it henceforth deletes. Now let's see what all the features Jupyter Notebook helps us to code in Python and with ease. So Jupyter provides various options, say file, edit, view, insert, cell, kernel, widgets and help. So to explore one of them, firstly file. So you can create your new Python file here, open an existing Python file, make a copy of the file that you're working in, save as with your desired name at the desired location in your local, rename the file, save and checkpoint. Save is to save the file and checkpoint tells you when was the last time you worked and return back to that particular moment. Okay, it helps you with that. So therefore our next option, revert to checkpoint. So the last time I worked was 31st October 5:52. So it's 5:54. The last time that I did was to rename this cell, right, as session 1. So it reverts back to that checkpoint. And then print preview. And then download as. So whatever file, Python file you're working on, you can download with these many options. And the next option it provides is edit. So suppose you're working on the current cell. So you can cut the cell, copy the cell, paste, delete your cell, merge the cell, move the cell up and down, edit your cells and so on. Next option is to view. It helps you to toggle between your header, toolbar and have line numbers to each of them. So we'll go in depth of each of them and what it means. The next option is to insert cell above and below. And then cells, it helps you to run your cell, run all the cells or a current cell or the cell above or the cell below and so on. It helps you to define your particular cell as code or markdown or raw NB. It helps to clear the outputs and provide you the correct output and to clear all the output or give all the outputs. The next option is kernel. So if your kernel has to be interrupted or restarted, restart and clear and restart and run, reconnect or shut down, then you can do it. And then widgets to save it, to clear your notebook widget state and to download it. And then help provides you the reference where you can go to Python reference and particular library reference, learn more about it. And then also it also has the keyboard shortcuts, how you can work with Jupyter Notebook with these. Following the menu bar are the list of the shortcut keys Jupyter provides. Say, save, add, cut, copy, paste, run above, below, run, and then the type to define your cell and so on. So this particular thing that you see below is the cell. So let's write our first Python code. So suppose I say print, open brackets, within the double quotes I say hello geeks. So once I've typed my Python code, I want to run the cell. So I can use the option here, run the cell. It gives me the output. The alternate way to do is, I'll just copy this and paste in my next cell and I'll say shift enter. So this also prints your output. And the next options. So suppose below this particular cell, I want to add another cell. So I'll click on add. So it inserts a cell below my cell. And you see this cell has been given number 1 and this has been given number 2. This tells us the order in which the execution happened. So first execution you ran was for this cell, so number 1, and the second was to this cell, so number 2. And suppose I want to delete this particular cell. So I can just go and click on cut cell, which is in the form of a scissor that cuts my cell. Cuts and cuts. And suppose I again want to insert, I'll do plus again. Now I want to toggle between my cells. So I'll use down arrow mark and up arrow mark. So I'll toggle between my cells. Suppose I want to copy the content of the cell. So I'll copy this. I'll select this cell and say paste it. So it pastes and creates another cell. Now suppose I want to give a heading, a particular name, so that the next user who comes in understands what I'm actually doing here, right? So how do I do it? So I'll say, suppose select a cell and I'll say choose one of the option, that is markdown. So it helps you to define the cell. Suppose I have this particular statement. Now you know this is a Python code, so it's a Python statement. Print is a Python function. Okay, remember it as of now, followed by whatever I want to print enclosed within the brackets and quotes. This cell type is code. So I'm telling Python to consider it as a code, and while execution, please run, because it is a Python statement. So this cell type is of code type. And I want to just help name this cell, provide a heading to that cell. So then what I'll do is I'll go and select markdown. So markdown helps us with different ways to name a cell or say provide a heading to a cell. So it comes with a different option. So it provides levels basically from level 1 to level 6. Suppose I want to write something in level 1. Then I'll say hash and I'll say heading 1 and say shift enter. So this tells me the heading that it is of level 1. Similarly, I want to check for the next one. So I'll say double hash and say heading 2. Now you can see if you tell shift enter, it doesn't execute. The reason is because cell is in the code format. I'll convert it into a markdown. And now if I run this, it goes to level 2. Similarly, and so on, when you run, you can do this until level 6. So I have to add 6 hash marks followed by heading 6. Again, I need to convert this cell type to a markdown type and then say shift enter. So it goes all the way from level 1 heading to level 6. It's basically the font, right? You can see the font is going on reducing. So level 1 being the highest and level 6 being the smallest font. The next option that we have here is raw NB. So raw NB is nothing but, it's not used much, but it's good to know that it is only a type where it converts and keeps the cell in the text format, and it tells please do not print it. do not print. So I'm executing this. It's basically just a text. So when I'm running my Python file, Python doesn't consider the raw NB kind of cells for execution. It only considers them as text. Basically, in our day-to-day life, we make use of code and markdown, raw NB to a certain limit. That's it. Talking about the next one is heading. Heading was present earlier, but in the future updates of Python, maybe it is strongly recommended that it wouldn't be there, it wouldn't last anymore, because the work that heading was doing is same as markdown now. So it's kind of a replacement. So markdown is a replacement for heading, which prints the text in level 1 to level 6. So these are the way, the options the Jupyter Notebook provides us, which you can explore. The last option is command palette. So command palette gives you the different type of shortcut keys, basically how you can use things. So you can explore more on this when you find time to work in Jupyter Notebook with these. The very next option that I will say is to save my current file. And suppose I want to send this Python file to someone else, right? So what can I do? So I can use file download as HTML or PDF or PY file, anything. Suppose say I will use .html. Then it downloads a HTML file for me, and I can navigate and check that the file is in HTML. So you can see .html. This is one of the other options that is very helpful in Jupyter Notebook. One other main important thing is, suppose I'm working on series of things. So say I am not able to identify things, right? I have many different lines, and if someone tells go back to that line and check what is the particular thing happening. So if I do not have line numbers, it's very difficult. Right, so what do I do? Suppose I have this statement. So I'll enter this. So you can see it's printing. So now it has line numbers, so it's fine. If someone tells me go to line number 2 and check what's happening, I can do it. But suppose this was not there. So then what we need to do? So if you see, if I take this off, you can see the line numbers are gone. So if I again go to view and I say toggle line numbers, the line numbers are getting inserted. So this is one other very important feature that you should remember in Jupyter while working in it. It's always good and best practice to have the comments like this, to have a line number like that. Okay. And one other thing is, suppose I'm working on a series of lines of Python program, and the terminal or the window or the kernel that you say gets shut down. So it kind of doesn't give you the appropriate output at times. So one best way to help, that will help you, is to go to this kernel section and say restart. So it helps you to restart your kernel, builds it fresh, and produces your output freshly without any kind of interruption. The second option is to restart and clear output. So it will restart your kernel and clear all the existing output. So let's try that. Restart and clear output. So if you see, all your outputs that were generated, suppose I had outputs here, right? So when I say restart and clear all the outputs were also cleared, right? In the same way, you have different options like this. Suppose say I will execute this again, and I'll go to kernel and I'll say restart and run all. So this time you'll see all my outputs come back. So this did not have an output, but it came back. So this is how it helps you work with kernel. Basically the ideology is to restart, and if you want to clear output or run all the output, it's up to you. You can also reconnect, or you can also shut down your kernel. So this is the overview of Jupyter Notebook that one has to know before getting started. And I think with this hands-on practice in Jupyter, we are good to go with our next series, where we'll start with Python and know more about Python. Now you understand how Jupyter provides an interactive platform for us to run commands of Python in Jupyter, and it's very easy for a beginner to get started. So until our next video, stay tuned. Please like, share and subscribe the channel, The Geek. Thank you.